everybody, my name is Joey. Welcome to my channel. Today I am doing yet another project with the Mochaccino bead box from DD Beads, DD's Deluxe Bead Box. And in my first video, if you didn't see it, I did a trio of bracelets. This is my favorite because I'm crazy about this heart. I have this heart in a lot of colorways, but this beautiful opaque natural color just speaks to me. And then I also did a bracelet on leather, and what's so cool about this box is that it uses the natural elements of like mocha and the Z bead agate and a lot of natural elements. So I added in a couple of things from my stash for my leather bracelet, but I love that it was curated with also a little bit of bling with these really beautiful crystal rondelles. So this was my third bracelet. I wire wrapped some of the beads from the box and a few spacers right onto this cuff bracelet. And so that was my first video. And so today I'm going to be doing a necklace, and I'm going to do sort of concentric half rings, if you will. I've already strung these two, and I'll show you what's going to happen. I'm going to show you exactly how I did it. And if you're a beginner, I'm using a crimp bead. So they are the easiest method of crimping. So that's what you see there on the ends with my loops. And the pattern here used 6 of the Baroque pearls from the box. And so my first little concentric ring is the shortest, and I did like, I forget what my measurement was, but it's kind of like 7, 9, and then 11 is kind of my measurement that I did on my strand. But honestly, I sort of eyeballed it. And the pattern here is to have 1 pearl on the shorter strand, 2 pearls centered on the second strand, and 3 pearls on the longest strand. And then it's going to get attached with some gold rings that are really decorative. They're twisted. And those loops are going to get attached there, and then they're going to get attached to this piece of leather. And I just love the beads in this box. So I did add in some coffee creamer, like some really creamy colored Heishi discs that are howlite that I had in my stash, and a few little spacer beads. But it just made bead stations. I just did like bead stations on this 1mm natural leather, and I'm going to connect that to the ring. So I have to do this side with you. I'll leave this here so we can look at it, and we have to do this. I'm going to be stringing on my antique brass color of the Soft Flex Metallics. It's a 49 strand. It's my favorite bead stringing wire, and it comes in so many great colors. And this just matches beautifully with the golds and the chocolates and the creamy colors. It just matches beautifully. So I'll pull up my larger strand. So I leave it exposed. You don't have to. You can put like French wire or seed beads, but I'm leaving it exposed on this design because, you know, you can do that with the Soft Flex wire. I really love it. So I've got a little piece here to do this strand, and I'm going to show you how easy it is. This is a crimp bead. Let me string it on, and then I'll get my finger out of the way. This is a crimp bead. So if you are struggling with like the magical crimping plier or fold over crimp, try this because it's really the easiest. And on a design like this that is not heavy, and that these crimps are really literally almost just like little stops for the different strands, because they're going to hang from metal rings. It's the perfect way to crimp and super easy. So I just am making a loop. I just fed the end of my wire back down through, and I'm going to match this loop to my others as best I can, and I just eyeball these things. I get messages from a lot of you, and some people say, oh, I put my beading all through there. Like everybody has their little method for getting their loops to be the you know, consistent, the same as the others, but for me, I just eyeball it. I'm just scooting that crimp bead, and just that's about right. And so super easy. I'm just going to take my pliers and flatten it just like that. So it's crimped. So it's really easy. And then this is just the same pattern that I did. I ended each of these strands with one of these crystals. And Stella, the founder and curator of this box, I love her vision with beads. I just really do. This is like the natural, this beautiful black moonstone strand that just spoke to me, and I felt like I really wanted to feature it. But the fact that she popped it with this crystal with the AB finish and all the facets against the more natural elements. It's just stunning. I love the way she sees beads. She does such a great job with curating. So see if, I don't know if this strand will go through my black moonstone bead. It doesn't. So I'm going to trim my tail, back this down a little bit, and just make this tail a little bit shorter. And so my spacer beads that you see here are from an assortment of Tibetan spacer beads with large holes and small holes. I'll show you. It is always linked in my description box under my current favorite findings, because when I find something that's really good, I like to share it with you. So I have just pulled, actually I have two of these. This is the other one. Let me pull the other one out. I have two of them. And I've kind of mixed up, but this is what it looks like. So you've got like all these cool spacers to choose from when you're doing a stringing pattern. And I just love having them on my work cart right behind me. Sorry for the noise. Okay, let me string, and I'll kind of show you what these 3 strands look like. They literally nestle, like nesting strands inside each other. Look at the flash in that bead. These gemstone beads are just beautiful, and so are the Baroque pearls. And so I designed this pattern and this necklace to really showcase the pearls and showcase the beautiful gemstones. So this strand looks like that, and it fits inside. And when these nestle together on the necklace, the center focal with the pearls kind of makes like a pearl triangle in the middle with the pattern. And you just like really see the beads beautifully. It's a way, I didn't do too much gold accents, just like that. I'm gonna get another crimp bead on here. Just let it go down to my beads. And just like when you're making a bracelet or anything, I didn't want to do this too tight. I wanted these to be nice and loose and have a little space. So I'm just making that loop, and I'm just going to pull it so that it matches the other loops. But when I get my loop just right, I'm going to make sure this is loosey-goosey. Rigid jewelry is just never a good thing. So before I crimp, I want to make sure that this is like really doing what I want it to do, and I think it looks great. And so like I said, the easiest method of crimping, I'm going to come right here again and flatten, and it's crimped. And you guys that have been here before, you know that I have a scrap bag. I love having scraps of my soft flex wire because I do a lot of components with these scraps, and this is perfect for an earring drop as well. So that goes in the scrap bag, which is clipped right on the edge of my craft cart, my work cart behind me. Okay, we can, before I assemble, I'm going to go ahead and show you how I did the leather. This is going to be, you know, what holds my concentric half rings, but I love the little bead stations that I created, and this is just a natural leather that I got from, I showed it in my first video. Let me see if I still have it. Oh, I do. I picked this up at the craft store, and it was on clearance for 62 cents. And, you know, I'm a clearance shopper, and I'll sometimes, when I see a deal like that, I had no idea what I was going to do with it, but I just put it in my stash. And then I'm also using these clamshell ends for this leather, and they're wonderful. You just have to make sure your leather will go through the hole. So I have everything in this little dish. So this is what they look like. And I've already strung my bead stations on this side just because these are rather small beads. These little beautiful beads from the box, they're wonderful. But it was, you know, I don't want to say tedious, but you know, very small beads. So I went ahead and did the stringing so you guys wouldn't have to suffer through that watching me string. So I'm going to come to this end. I just did the stringing, but the knotting and like keeping these in place has not happened yet. So this one right here, let's see. Let me start on this end because I'll have another scrap of leather. I'm going to go ahead and feed this through my clamshell. So if you are not familiar with this finding, there's a little hole at the base and your material needs to fit through that hole. And this leather is natural, so what I found is that it's not a consistent circumference all the way down, but this end, it was thin enough to go through, and also obviously I did that side. So I'm just going to pull this down kind of out of my way, and I'm going to make a knot here. And if you want to put a little glue, you totally can. I didn't feel like it was necessary on this. I don't think this knot is going to come off, and nothing here is heavy. And then I'm just going to trim that little tail. And that knot is going to hide inside the clamshell. So I'm just going to bring that down, get my knot inside, and close up that clamshell. There is another type of this clamshell finding where there's only a single loop. This clamshell part closes and the loop is only on one half of it. For strength, I prefer the double loop clamshell, and I've had these in my stash, but when I edit the video, I will search for this type and put a link for you guys if I can find it. I wish I remembered where I got these, but when you close it and then when you put your jump ring through here to connect, it's going to be super strong because your jump ring is going through 2 loops and not just one, if that makes sense. If you've not seen the other one, maybe it doesn't make sense, but that's the first bit. And then I'm just going to bring this first station down because I'm going to copy this one exactly. So that's what my first one looks like. And I'm going to come behind here, and since I did all the stringing, I'm going to have to pull all these beads through the loop, but it's okay. They're not very big beads. So I'm just going to pull these through and get this knot down here. Now I even used my knotting tweezer on this leather. You can do this with your finger, but with a knotting tweezer, if you put the tip of your tweezer where you want your knot to be, so I'm grabbing my little bead station right at the top of it, and then when you pull the knot, it goes right down, and your knot will land right where the tip of your tweezer is. And then you can, use your fingernail or whatever to tighten the knot. And I have broken this leather being too aggressive because it's natural. It doesn't have any coating on it, and it's quite thin. So I did learn that I need to be careful. But that's my first little station. And since I'm going to copy this, let me move these guys up. And since I'm going to copy this, I can use my knotting tweezer I'm just going to push my bead stations out of the way and do the same thing. Pull all the beads that I've strung, pull everything through the loop. And this is where a knotting tweezer can help you. Not that you can't do this with your fingers, but I can reach inside this loop and measure. Like my tweezer now is right where that other knot is. And now again, when I pull, that knot is going to be right where I want it. So it's a good way to match up 2 sides. And also, before I really commit and tighten it down, I can check. And so my knots are like perfectly lined up. So when you're not doing an asymmetrical necklace and you want both sides to match, that is a great, easy way to measure without getting out a ruler. And just pull that stack of beads down and do another knot. Just kind of pulling everything through the loop. And I'm going to do that. I did 4 bead stations. That was about the appropriate length. So I'm going to do that and get to the other end and put a clamshell on the other end. And then the fun part, we get to assemble. Okay, my 2 sides match. So I'm going to get another clamshell finding and do the same thing. Feed my leather through that little hole. This side of my leather is definitely thicker than the other side, so I'm going to make a really, really sharp angled cut. And like I said, Brazilian waxed cord would work great for this. Honestly, you could even do this part on the Soft Flex 49 strand bead stringing wire that I strung these on. It's beautiful if you match the color, and that could even be exposed. So there's options here for this part. I'm wasting a little bit of this leather, but like I say, it's not a consistent thickness all the way through the strand. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to measure here and get my knot right at the end. Okay, and it's the same thing we did on the other side. Trim at the tip of your knot, push your clamshell in place, and close it up. And now we are ready to assemble. This is the exciting part because the stringing is done. This is like the easiest project. This is such a great project if you're a beginner, and it uses all the natural elements, but it's also got a little sparkle to it. I really love it. And you could make the leather part, like if you wanted this to be a longer necklace, you could definitely make it longer. Like this is also very adjustable to your own personal taste. But I'm going to open this ring, and I hadn't decided if I was going to put jump rings on each of these or not. Let me see how it looks. And here's where it's kind of important. I've got to string my shortest strand, and then my medium strand, and then my long strand on this side. And then I will use a jump ring to attach my clamshell to this. So I'll go ahead and close that. And then on this end, I have to string in the same order. So let me open this a little bit. And on this side, I'm going to put my longer one, my medium one, and my shorter one. These are stainless steel twisted rings, and they are really tough. They're nice and strong. They're perfect if you're hanging gemstones or anything from them. Look at this, you guys. Isn't that gorgeous? Look how pretty. I might have to make some more jump rings land. I use 20 gauge wire to make my own jump rings most of the time because I like the anti-tarnish. Let me see if I have enough made without making some. There's a couple. And I need 2 for the back of the necklace as well. Just going to put a lobster claw closure on this. Oh, I have a couple in my dish here. Okay, so I want the side that has the bead station to be what attaches to the necklace, and then the plain leather where there is no bead station to the back of the necklace. So I'm just going to put the jump ring through my clamshell loops and attach it right here. Look at this. This is so beautiful. I absolutely love this necklace. It's so natural and lovely. And then I could do a couple of things from here. I can put just a ring and a lobster claw on each side. But those of you who have been on my channel before, you know that I have these, oh, do I have one? I don't have one right here, but I have something similar. I make these necklace bases. This one happens to be just gold seed beads, but I have gold chain and they have loops on the end. And then I could actually just put 2 decorative clasps here, and then I could make it a really long necklace, like add it into something else. So for now, I think I'll just finish it with rings, with jump rings and a lobster claw clasp. But this could very easily be a design that adds in to a base necklace to make it longer. This is absolutely stunning. I love this little necklace so much. So I also designed a pair of earrings, and I used those Hishi beads that I added into the box from my stash, but it really features there were two of these beautiful check glass teardrops that have the embossing, and it really features the gemstone beads and just really highlights them. And of course they're gorgeous to go with this or not, and all of this can work back to the bracelets that I already made in my first video. Like, I love that I added in some bamboo and a cowrie shell, and it's mixed with a check glass butterfly and the flowers, and it's dotted with gemstones and gold. It's like so elegant. It's neutral, but like with the pearls and the sparkle of the crystals. What a gorgeous jewelry set. I absolutely love this. Box is extremely inspiring. And you guys, I did not end up using any of the shell charms yet, but this could be another just really simple pair of earrings. You could take one bead and make it into a little component and just have a little dangly pair of, an extra dangle pair of earrings. I actually think I might need to do that. Also, I could use a pearl above these. I have so much left from this box. These shell beads would be really beautiful. Oh, there were these. I didn't even cut this strand yet because I was thinking to make some more stretch bracelets that I could stack. But that would be really beautiful. Okay, I think I'm gonna have to do another really simple pair of earrings. I really want to just make it simple, but these rice beads, these brown, natural brown mother of pearl shell beads, they feel amazing. I absolutely love these. And let's see, with some spacer beads, I can do another bracelet. I can create a stretch bracelet and a pair of earrings. So I hadn't really planned to do that in this video, but I'm going to do it. So I'll show you how I made this earring, and I'm going to set this aside. Oh, you know, from the strand, I also had these brown flowers left. So I could even do this. I'm going to have to think about that, but I'm going to set this aside so that we can work on the earring that I have. I'm going to play. Let me just play for a second. I'm really inspired and a little bit distracted from what I already had designed. Okay, I'm going to make a pair of earrings with the flowers and the charms. I have one of these flowers left. So that's going to be a charm on another stretch bracelet that I can stack on here. And I just wanted to check to see if the holes in these natural beads would go over the stretch cord that I have here, and it does. So that's going to be really simple stringing. I'm going to get some spacer beads out and make another stretch bracelet with a charm and another pair of earrings. Oh, I love this box. DD Beads is one of the best little boutique websites there is. So let's build this guy. I have a little piece of 20 gauge wire. Okay, so I'm just gonna have that bead kind of in the middle of this piece of wire, and I'm gonna make this the back, and so I'm gonna fold this wire straight up the middle of the back like that, and with my thumb and finger hold it nice and tight, and I'm just going to get like a single wrap around this part. If you're not strong enough with your fingers, use your pliers. And I'm just going to get that around like that and snip this off and tuck it in. It's going to hide inside my large hole spacer bead, so I don't have to be too concerned, but I want it nice and neat even underneath. So it looks like that, and now my bead is really featured. There's nothing detracting from it. And then I'm going to grab the back, and so I'm going to make this little lightning bolt kind of zigzag in the back. It tightens this really well, but it also just adds a decorative element to the back of the earrings. I'm just going to grab a hold of it and twist. Isn't that pretty? I think it looks nice. I like my jewelry to look pretty on the back as well as on the front. My stack that I did here. So I used a large hole spacer to go down on the top of the bead, and then this little Tibetan sort of cone-shaped spacer fits inside that one. So I got this really pretty stack on top of the bead. And then I think I used my 2 1/4 millimeter one-step looper, and I want my opening of my loop to be toward the back of my earring. So I know that my one-step looper makes the loop going up. So I'm going to put it in the tool like this. and just put that metal bead right up to the front. My wire is against the back jaw. It's through the guide hole, and now I'm going to let it make that little cut for me. It makes a fresh cut, and it's making the loop, and then I pull my earring down as I'm closing, so I'm not pushing these beads into the ear wire. And now the loop is made, and I can adjust so that it's really centered and pretty. I always put my pliers to everything anyway, and I'm going to take another scrap of 20 gauge wire for the next component, and this time I don't need to go through the guide hole. Just make sure the wires pass the back cutter when there's no beads on there and against this plate. Now I'm just going to copy this little bead stack. I just loved these creamy colored he/she disc spacers that I had. I just thought they were a beautiful addition to the box. And I also had these little spacers from that Tibetan mix that are the exact same size, so they look great, and it really highlighted this moonstone bead. And I sort of went through the Strand since I was doing earrings and found two that were pretty similar in color, because there is a lot of variation on that Strand, which is part of the beauty. It's really beautiful. But since there was only one bead on each earring, I kind of matched it. And then on this earring, these loops have to be going, the loops that I make for this component have to be going in the opposite direction because of the ear wire, because the loop on my ear wire that I chose is horizontal to my mat. So the loop that I make with the wire has to be perpendicular to my mat. And then I did this loop back horizontal to my mat so that this loop will open in the back of the earring. I don't know if that makes sense, but for me, when I'm connecting, I like to connect in a purposeful way so that the opening of loops is facing the back of a piece, and also so that, like my teardrop, if you don't get the orientation of your loops right, the teardrop would not face forward on the earring. It could end up where it's hanging and having a sideways view, and to me that doesn't look good. So I'm going to come, if I hold it this way with that one step looper, I'm going to get the same loop. So I'm going to hold this so that this loop that I've already made is parallel to my mat, and put this back in the tool. There's beads and the wire's long enough to go through the guide hole. I'll just gently close it so that I can get myself organized. And now let it make that cut for me. And I'll pull it down like I have been. And because of the disc bead, the tool didn't close all the way, but that is totally okay because it's going to get attached to this component that we just made. Close it, work hard in it. If you need to straighten anything, I am a little bit of a perfectionist about my loops and things, so you know, I tend to do it this way. Okay, and I'm going to open this and add it to the ear wire. And again, I'm adding it so that my simple loop closes toward the back of the earring. And when I look at this earring, this is seamless. There's no open loops, and my teardrop part is facing forward. So that first pair is done. This pair is going to be super simple. I am going to use the smaller one-step looper and make those flowers into two components and simply attach them to the mother of pearl shell charms. And I am not even going to put an ear wire on this. Some of you who have been around my channel, you know why that is. I am going to use my gold-filled interchangeable lever back ear wires. I have a tray in my jewelry box where I keep all my earring drops that I've made that go on and off of those ear wires. Let me make the first earring and I'll show you how easy it is. And it's also a great gift because you're putting really high quality in your ears, and then if you make a lot of earrings, you don't need an ear wire every single time. So I am going to get this loop in here. Look how simple that is. And so this is a lever back ear wire. It has a little cradle right here, and so you can just slide your drops in and off, put that in your ear. It snaps closed and it's beautiful. It's such a great everyday earring. I just love it. So simple. So let me make the other one real fast, and then I am going to just string up a little pattern with these shell rice beads, and maybe just as simple as a gold spacer, and then I'll have another bracelet to go with my other 3 that I made. Okay, 2 pairs of earrings are done. I'm going to take out some of these 6/0 Miyuki seed beads. They're galvanized, so they're really great for bracelets because they the gold finish doesn't darken or rub off so easily. And I'm going to create a little pattern with those rice beads on my stretch cord. That's going to be my charm. And what I decided to do is 3 rice beads separated by those gold spacer beads. And then I love these Tibetan spacers from that mix, especially for a stretch bracelet, because they have a large enough hole and they're hollow inside, and it's a great way to hide your knot on a stretch bracelet. And I have popped them into my earrings and some of the other my bracelets from this. I used it on this bracelet, so everything will coordinate. So I'm going to string this up with doing just that, 3 rice beads. It's kind of going to be kind of like the same thing, the same principle of a station in between, and I'm going to put a seed bead in between each one and just get my length. And it's going to be that simple all the way around, just a really simple pattern. And then I'll make a charm with my last check glass flower and add it in. And wow, I started out to just make a multi-strand necklace and coordinating earrings, and this box is so inspiring that, you know, I'm still making. It's turned into a making session. Okay, I changed my mind a little bit about what I'm doing on this bracelet. I decided to put the flower on the strand and make it part of my pattern. And that gives me really a little focal on this. And I decided to add in some of the spacer beads that I used in the necklace. And then on the ball head pin, I pulled in like all the elements from the jewelry set. So a pearl, one of the spacer beads, one of the sparkly beads, and then another one of the 6/0 beads. And this is going to be my dangle on my piece here. So I'm going to put a simple loop in this, and I will attach that to my bracelet with a jump ring so that it dangles nicely. Just get a little loop in the top here. And now if you could see, I finished my pattern so that I can tie a knot and pull it inside one of my large hole beads. And I am gonna pre-stretch this. I have been stretching it, but I also, one of my tricks for my stretch bracelets really lasting is I make the circumference a little bit larger than I actually need, because then you're not stretching it so much as you pull it on and off your wrist. And you know, stretch bracelets are so wonderful for the summer. They really are. They're easy on and off. They're not heavy. You don't have a clasp, but they are not forever jewelry. I get a lot of seasons out of my stretch bracelets because I make so much jewelry. They don't get a lot of wear and tear. But when it's stretched out and, you know, not really looking good anymore, don't toss it away. Cut it, and, you know, of course, harvest your beads. Okay, I don't do anything crazy with my knots either. A square knot is what I do. So I did right over left, and I do this like, I'm just gonna alternate, then left over right. I'm right hand dominant, so I'll turn it like this and pull it pretty tight. And, you know, just, I don't wanna get the knot so big that I can't pull it inside my bead. But my bracelet is done, and then I'm gonna separate it. I can actually go ahead and I used my little scrap of that was left over from a bead box to do my bracelets in this video and then the last one. And I'm just going to get the pin out of my GS Hypo Cement. I am really almost due for a new tube of this but there's still a little bit of glue in there. Clean that off a little bit, and it's flowing. So I use my hand to like separate this from my beads, and I'm gonna get glue in the knot, kind of top and bottom. And I've learned that your bracelets last longer also if you don't get glue all over the cord length, but try to keep it just on the knot, because it won't erode the cord by having glue oozing all over. And then I'm just going to pull this bead over the knot. Just zhuzh it so the knot goes inside that large hole bead. And that glue will dry inside that bead, and it's an infinity. You cannot see where this starts and stops. And I have another, maybe even 2 bracelets on that scrap that I've been working from. So my knot is hidden inside that bead, and I have another stacking bracelet. This is so pretty. Look at that. I love it. I love having the little flower with the flowers embossed on the heart, and I love getting just one single pearl as a dangle. It's really elegant. I mean, these are the most elegant stack bracelets, really, and I'm just really happy with all my projects from this box, but a lot of that is due to Stella at DD Beads, because she is amazing at curating boxes and pulling beads together, and her accent beads in this box were just amazing. So check my description box for links to DD Beads and anything else that I've used. My favorite findings is there. And if you are a new customer to DD Beads, I do have a discount code for shopping her website. My code does not work on the DD's Deluxe Bead Box, or the it works on about 80% of the website, instead of me telling you what it doesn't work on. And it's if you're a new customer, just to introduce you to this beautiful, wonderful website. So that link is in the description box, and my tools, everything is there for you. And I hope everybody is doing great so far this summer, being safe and well and drinking a lot of water, and I will see you in the next video. Ciao, friends.